I think we good. I think we good. Yeah. Yeah. Man, y'all already know what time it is, man. Sorry I was a little behind tonight. Had to make sure that the battery was nice and charged up so there'll be no interruptions in the pod. So again, thank y'all for tuning and tapping in every Wednesday, every Sunday at 10:30. Whew, y'all already know. Let's get this show started. What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's great? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Lovechild. This is episode 194. Wow. Episode 200 is creeping up. Again, episode 194. And again, I want to thank y'all for tuning and tapping in each and every. As always, y'all show major love and support of the podcast. And the 200th episode is coming up, which I'm real excited. Very big as far as accomplishment. And, I'm just glad that y'all continue to support and help with the growth of the show. It's just amazing being on this journey with you guys and having the conversation that we always have every Wednesday, every Sunday, whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment, whether it's social commentary, any and everything we talk about here. And again, it means the world to me that you tune and tap in each and every Wednesday and every Sunday at 10:30. I want to thank the presenting sponsor of this podcast, which is Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. Also, I want to thank you guys for supporting my new EP. Winners Loyalty is out right now. For those who haven't heard of it, just type in Ashley Lovechild on any music platform, and it'll pop up 6 songs of fire, especially for my hip hop lovers. So make sure y'all tune in and tap into the new EP, Winners Loyalty. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers, y'all. That's a lot of subscribers. We're a little over 11,000 subscribers. So again, continue to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that all notification bell. I do pop up throughout the week. I do premiere videos. So make sure y'all hit that all notification bell in the chat as well. Also, we have memberships. Tap into the memberships. Different access is granted for different memberships. So make sure y'all tap in and take advantage of the memberships also. Also, we have merch, 44.com. If you go to our store on 44.com, use the promo code Brothers Pod. Again, Brothers Pod, you get 10% off of everything in our store. So again, if you use that promo code Brothers Pod, again, you get 10% in our store on all items. Man, again, episode 194, such a big accomplishment. I'm super excited. And again, thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. Yo, shout out to the chat, man. The chat. Y'all are big time. Y'all always show major love. Shout out to Winter, one of our day ones, one of our badge holders. Shout out to King Prince, or King P in the building. Badge holder. Appreciate that. Gifted as well. Thank you for the gifted. As always, thank you. Big appreciation to King P for the gifted. Also, shout out to Shay in the building. Shout out to Ebony. We got these badge holders in the building, man. Badge holders. Shout out to Hazel in the building. What up, Hazel? I'm hyped. Sunday fun day. Appreciate that. Shout out to Culture in the building. My dude Ash, where you at? I'm in the studio, my brother. Shout out to Paul in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. Again, one of our day ones. Shout out to Amirs in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. Man, we got day ones. We got badge holders. We got new people. And we got the loyal crew in the building, man. Thank y'all for tuning and tapping in every Sunday, every Wednesday night. Again, it means the world to me, for real. We're gonna have these great conversations tonight, and on my other social media platforms, it's been getting real funny because clips I would drop from this show is sparking a whole lot of debate. I get all types of DMs saying that my takes is spot on, even if somebody don't agree with me, which is fine because I don't say things for people to agree. I say it because it needs to be said. But it just has a different spin on or a different take on what other people are saying about the same things. So I just love that. I just love the fact that people are engaging and really having a conversation, because that's what we do here. We really have the conversation. Again, whether it's social commentary, sports, entertainment, things that's happening, in a viral space, social media space. We talk about everything here. And again, it means the world to me that y'all are engaging and it's sparking interest, even if you don't agree. Only thing I say is be respectful. Be respectful. Say what you say, but don't have to disrespect why you're saying it. I see that in my comments where people would disagree with other people, but they'll call them stupid first, or they'll call them an idiot first. It was like, is there any need for all that? Is this a conversation? If you have a difference of opinion, say, yo, I got a difference of opinion. And again, it's not even towards me, it's even to the other people in the comments as well. So be respectful. We can always have the conversation, but just be respectful. Y'all amazing. Y'all are super, super amazing. All right, let's get the show started, right? All right, episode 194. You already know how we do. Starting off with popular opinions. And remember, y'all, these are not my questions. These are the world's questions. So stick to the answers in the questions. I always give that disclaimer because every time I drop a video, people always put in the comments like, yo, where these questions coming from, this, that, and the third. These are not my questions. These are the world's questions. So again, stick to the answers and the questions. And people like to give answers that's not even a part of the question. So that's another reason why I make sure I say that. This segment is brought to you by by OUV Records. Make sure you go to Instagram at OUV Records and stay in tune to the latest music and merchandise. See it right there. The label motto is create, document, and inspire. So again, stay in tune and keep informed. All right, y'all. First popular opinion question of the night. And again, y'all, engage in the chat. It's super fun when y'all engage. And yeah, let's do it up. Which comedian on this list? Which comedian on this list does the best impressions? Which comedian on this list does the best impressions? Number 1, Jay Farrell. Number 2, Godfrey. Number 3, Jamie Foxx. Number 4, Dave Chappelle. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Again, the question is, which comedian on this list does the best impressions? Okay. Number 1, Jay Farrell. Number 2, number 2, Godfrey. Number 3, Jamie Foxx. Number 4, Dave Chappelle. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Me personally, all these comedians are outstanding at impressions. I think a guy like Ari Spears should have been on this list, but I'm not going to say him as an answer, y'all, because it's on this list. But I feel like he should have been on this list. But out of all the people on this list who I've seen be the most versatile, the most funny moments for me, I'm going to say Godfrey. Because even though Jay Farrell probably does more characters and he's probably more versatile in the different characters, Godfrey, the impressions that Godfrey does have me rolling on the floor. Pause. Like cackling. Like, that good laugh from the gut, from the stomach. When he does Steve Harvey, when he does President Trump, I mean, those type of impressions that he does of them, funny to me personally. Jay Farrell, again, he's probably more spot on when it comes to like people that we see, like Will Smith. I've seen him do the Denzel impression. I've seen him do several impressions that was just spot on and funny. But Godfrey impressions for me is a little bit more. I've had more funny moments with Godfrey's impressions. Listen to his impressions. Jamie Foxx does great impressions, but I think his impressions are better when he does vocal impressions. When he does like the Prince, if you ever seen him do a Prince impression, a Luther Vandross impression, a Bilal impression, he has those spot on. So the vocal impressions, I think Jamie has it hands down. So me personally, I'm gonna say Godfrey. I've had more funny moments with Godfrey. In the chat, I'm seeing Godfrey as well. I'm seeing two. I'm also seeing Jay Farrell. I'm seeing Jay Farrell. He does a great Trump. Yeah, he does a great Trump. Yes, facts. He's a jokester. Shout out to Dope in the building. Appreciate Dope for tapping in. Appreciate you. So yeah, so again, I went with Godfrey. The chat is a little bit with Jay Farrell and Godfrey. The rest of the world at 47%, mind you, over 7,000 people voted on this, went with number one, Jay Farrell. Again, I'm not surprised because Jay Farrell, when it comes to just the speaking, the the nuances, he does it impeccably good. I think I may have seen one person that could probably do the Denzel impression better than him, but everybody else is spot on. There's a comedian, I don't know his name, but he's a comedian that would be on Wild 'N Out. It's kind of heavy set, and his impression of Denzel when he does like the training date, you would think it's Denzel for real. Like it's spot on. So, but Jay Farrell again, I agree as far as being versatile, being spot on their speaking and nuances. Definitely Jay Farrell. All right, y'all, moving on to our next popular opinion question. Which one of these colleges are the hardest to get accepted to? Which one of these colleges are the hardest to get accepted to? Number one, Brown. Number two, number two, Minerva. Number three, Harvard. Number four, Stanford. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Which college is the hardest to get into? Number one, Brown. Number two, Minerva. Number three, Harvard. Number four, Stanford. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Shout out to the quiet one for tapping in. Hit them likes, hit them 100s while y'all here. It does help with the growth of the show. And I know y'all want to help me grow the show even more. Y'all been supporting from day one. Because I see badge holders in the building, so you already know. All these schools are very hard to get into. All of these schools. I actually have the list on which is the hardest to get into, but just on the perception of the list. In the chat, I'm seeing I'm seeing three. I'm seeing Harvard. People saying Harvard in the chat. I'm seeing Harvard. I'm seeing Stanford in the chat. Shout out to Solo Slim, another one of them we got badge holders in here thick tonight. I love it. Appreciate the growth, y'all. Pause. Appreciate y'all support. Solo Slim in the building. So I'm seeing Brown, I'm seeing Harvard, and I'm seeing Stanford. I'm seeing all three prominently in the chat. Me personally, I would say Harvard. I would say Harvard. I would say Harvard because, that's always like when somebody says, yo, I got into Harvard. It's like, oh, you smart. You going for the gusto with this education. Like that, like Harvard is such like a legitimate thing. Or not just being smart, I should say, but just pursuing your education in a very serious manner. That's like saying I got a scholarship to play football at Michigan, or I got a scholarship to play basketball at Kentucky. It's like, oh, you serious, right? So having a scholarship to Harvard or getting into Harvard, it's like, oh, so you take your academics to the next level. You don't play no games. You got everything that you need. Okay, pencils, pens, and all that. You good on that. Erasers. You got your book bag together. Y'all know I'm being crazy, but again, you being serious about it. Uh, like high Harvard, like how high, yeah. How High is such a classic because of the movie, how they portrayed what they call those schools, what the Ivy League schools. Them Ivy League schools do party though. They do party. Don't ask me how I know, because I know. You know what I'm saying? The right millionaire can pay and make it easy these days to get into Harvard. That's true, but you got to have the money to do that. I found out there was a school, and I covered it on the show. There was a school, and this is a high school. This is a high school. I went to this high school, and they had a campus. It was a real live college campus at a high school. Their sports teams got different facilities, not the same facilities. They got different facilities for each sports team. They got a place where you could buy merchandise of the school. It was a real campus where people could walk around and feel like you're pursuing your education. Come to find out, that school charges in tuition about 16,000 per year. Now, if you wasn't a part of their religious denomination, then you had to pay up to 23,000 a year. Because if you're not a part of the religion, that means that you're not tithing. You know what I'm saying? So if you tithe, then they'll drop it. But since you're not a part of the denomination, then you gotta pay that extra, right? So I'm like, damn, for high school. And I'm like, yo, I ain't gonna lie. If I had the money, I would send my child to that school for 23 a year, because of the education is going to be on a whole next level. And this is high school. So you're right. If millionaires got the money to have that type of experience, then it is what it is. But you got to remember this. And just because you have money, right, doesn't make you smart. So that was the point that was made when you had mentioned that, right? But having money, being a millionaire, and being able to pay for your education, you're going in for a purpose. Even if you don't get like super spectacular grades, that Harvard degree is like gold to whoever's paying. That's like gold. So that's like the price of admission to whatever business that they're gonna run. So I agree with you, but when people got that type of money that could pay for that education, there's a bottom line that they're receiving that other people don't realize. So I must mention that. Again, shout out to Cool Kanzma in the building. Seems like you're spamming. Stop spamming. Appreciate you tapping in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I will get you some tickets to the block party. So please stop spamming. My show do not grow off of any type of bots. So if you out here botting, we don't do that over here. Appreciate the love. If you're really going to be here to give love, show love. If you're not, I will hook you up with some tickets to the block party. Okay, so please stop spamming. Dope said fees, book club, facts. Yeah, all that is in school, included. School, store, yes. Yale, Princeton, yes. Like all that is included in that stuff. Alumni of Ivy League schools, colleges, legacy scholarships. Very true. Very true. Because you have to understand, there's a subculture that's built within education. And let's keep it real. Like, you want to hire people who are the most qualified. Yes, you want the smartest and the brightest minds. But what's the use of having the smartest and the brightest minds if you don't get along with them? If you don't know their lineage, when they get out of hand and when they get out of tilt, you could go to their lineage and be like, yo, he's off his rocker. You need to get him back in line. So that also makes sense too. You want to do business with people that you know. People who are educated and getting their business through education, they build their own subgenre as well. So, education is a key for people that doesn't have other way out. So, that conversation, but I just alluding to what you were saying. So yeah, absolutely. Space Camp, Mando, even actors and actors. That's a fact. One of the top Ivy League schools, such as Yale, is like they have a huge acting program. So yes, that's an absolute fact. That's an absolute fact. All right, so hardest college to get into, or hardest college on this list to get accepted to. Number one was Brown. Number two, Minerva. Number three, Harvard. Number four, Stanford. I said Harvard. The chat majority went with Harvard. I also seen Stanford in there, but 44% and over 5,000 people voted on this went with Harvard. Harvard. 44% went with Harvard. But in the real aspect of it, Harvard came in second. Harvard was second, three was Stanford, four was Brown. The number one school, the hardest school to get into on this list is Minerva University. So again, looking at their acceptance rates and how prestige it is to get in there, it's on a whole nother level. I believe Minerva is higher than MIT, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a very tough school to get into. That is a fact. All right, y'all, moving on to our next segment. We're moving on to our Hollywood Need to Ask Us segment. I came up with this segment because Hollywood just generally don't give us great movies with no intrigue, no vision, no creativity, like how we used to get back in the 80s and 90s. And even the early 2000s was kind of popping. So I feel like I got better ideas for a movie and movie series. So my Hollywood Need to Ask Us this episode, I would love to see a new age. I don't want to say a new age. I want to see a new bank robber movie, but I want this movie to be based in the 70s and having all the 70s tropes, fashion, the feel, the music, the hardships which would lead to robbing banks in the 70s, how lucrative it was to rob banks in the 70s if you got away with it, how much easier it was at the time, but still using 70s technology. I would love to see a movie based on that. It would be a crime, murder genre on that. I definitely gotta have a movie like that rated R. I got to have the rated R. I gotta have my curse and I gotta have the sexual images. I gotta have it all in a bank robber movie. And I will have as my casting director Jackie Brown, who cast the movie Boys in the Hood, because I want the aesthetic to look a certain way, and I want great actors to be a part of this, even if they're not big name actors. And the reason why I named Boys in the Hood in particular, because when Boys in the Hood came out, none of the actors were big name actors. They wasn't unknown, but they wasn't big name outside of Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne was a guy that you knew his name, but he wasn't like, I'm trying to say this respectfully. He wasn't like the guy in the late 80s, early 90s. He was coming into that space though, because he did that, and then he did what's love got to do with it, and moving forward. But you had actors like Angela Bassett. They cast Ice Cube at the time because Ice Cube was the hottest person around. Pause, meaning like his fame. Him being in a rap group and him going solo. Like, it was a West Coast story. So, and then you have Cuba Gooding Jr. performance was. I mean, you had so many great performances in that movie. So I would go with Jackie Brown because her ability to find unknowns and they'd be great actors. And director, I'm also going to go with from a movie of Boys in the Hood and Set It Off, F. Gary Gray. So I think that would be a great combination for that type of movie. He wasn't an A-list as yet. Right. That's what again. I was trying to be respectful. I was trying to be respectful. Yes. Yes. Johnson. Yes. I said F. Gary Gray. John Singleton did direct Boys in the Hood, but F. Gary Gray directed. I just said it. Set It Off. Set It Off. and Jackie Brown was the casting director for Boys in the Hood. Yes, yes. Thank you for the correction, because that would have been out there like, no, that's all you'd have saw in the comments when I clipped this up. That's all you'd have, nah, it was John Singleton. What you talking about? People would have got at me. You know what I'm saying? So appreciate the grace, my brother, for correcting me. Appreciate you, dope. But I was being respectful when I said about, about Lawrence Fishburne, about him not being the guy as of yet, but that wasn't that wasn't indicative of his talent, because after that, again, he had Boys in the Hood, he had What's Love Got to Do with It, he had Deep Cover, he had Bad Company, he had several other movies that he ended up going crazy on that, that turned him up. So, but yeah, so that will be my Avenger team for this bank robbery movie taking place in the 70s. Again, it would be rated R, crime, murder movie, and that would be my crew. So I think that would be a fire movie. Biker Boys, yes, he did Biker Boys too. He did Biker Boys too, yes. Yes, Biker Boys is low-key fire. It's low-key fire. I ain't gonna hold you. It's low-key fire. I mess with Biker Boys. I would have loved to see a remake of Bonnie and Clyde with prominently black cast, ASAP Rocky, Halle Bailey as the lead actors. They did do something, I would say, probably before the pandemic, like a Bonnie and Clyde type of style of movie, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the name. I never seen the movie, but I know they did like a style of it, based on the previews that I seen, where you had a couple, they was out for a drive, a cop stopped them, they murdered the cop, and then they was on the run. So it was like that style, you know what I mean? But if they do it in the same ilk of a Bonnie and Clyde, I like Halle Bailey as an actor, but for that, nah. If you ever seen, is it Halle? I think the one is, who's the thicker one? Who's the one? Not the one that had the child with DDG. Who's the thicker one? That's Chloe. If y'all could, get me right. If that one is Chloe, I can see her play that role, because I seen her play a role on a Kevin Hart and Samuel L. Jackson 70s throwback, and I didn't even realize that was her. I was like, yo, and the way her acting skills was popping off in that, I could see her in something like that, in the ilk of that, playing the lead in something like that. Yes. ASAP Rocky, no. He's still catching his mark in acting. He's not terrible. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm hating or dissing him. He's not terrible, but he still got some ways to go with his acting. So I will go with the sister, who's the thicker one. I believe that's Chloe. If you was to do that movie, I will go with her to play Bonnie and Clyde. I think Joey Badass would do that justice, to be honest with you. I think he would do that justice. I really do. Him or the guy that plays in the show called Virgo. Him or him. Because that guy that plays in Virgo can act. If you ever seen the movie or the movie series called, is it called, damn, not The Hate They Give, They See Us. It was a depiction of the guys who was convicted of SA back in the late 80s, early 90s, and they turned out not to do it, about the exonerated five. And he played one of those characters, and he did an amazing job. And it's the same guy that he's the leader in this show called Virgo. Great actor. So I think that would be spot on for that show. ASAP Rocky's doing something with Denzel right now. He has range, don't sleep on. I seen the movie. That's what I'm critiquing him on. I seen the movie. He was cool. Just because I say he still need development doesn't mean I say he's terrible. I just say he's cool. but he still needs work. I would rather go for that type of movie, somebody who could, that's kind of proven. I think Joey Badass would do that justice a little bit more, and I think the guy from Virgo would do that justice a little bit more. Can ASAP Rocky be in the movie? Of course, but the lead. There's a reason why he wasn't the lead in this movie. He's coming along. He's coming along. He still got ways to go, and that's not a diss. That's not a diss. If his career is properly cultivated, I believe he could become another Denzel. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that at all. Um, I think if he properly do it, he could become a good actor. But we gotta stop. We gotta stop going to the top. We gotta stop. We gotta stop with that. Like I love the confidence and the energy, but we gotta stop with that. If you spend, everybody can't spend 24 hours in the gym and become Michael Jordan. They can't become Steph Curry. They can't become LeBron James. They can't. No matter how much time you spend in the gym, you're not gonna be Kobe Bryant. It's cool. He could be good, a really good actor, but the next Denzel? Do you understand the level that Denzel on when it comes to this acting? The range? Come on now. Let's keep it cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's keep it cool. Like, I'm rooting for him. I don't want to come off like I'm not rooting for ASAP Rocky. I'm rooting for ASAP Rocky to be a great actor if that's what he is pushing for. So I don't want this to come off that way. But if he really sticks with it, he can become a really good actor. The Denzel? Come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, Denzel been doing this ever since I was a little kid. Denzel been grown. You know what I'm saying? So he always killing. You know what I'm saying? So we can't do that. We can't do that. But again, I appreciate the confidence. Ricochet was fire. Denzel, Ricochet was fire. The Mighty Quinn, but y'all get my point. So I'm not dissing. I'm not dissing ASAP Rocky. I'm just being honest on what I see, and he could become a really good actor if he really pushes and really moves this thing forward. I honestly believe that. All right, y'all, moving on to our next segment. Y'all know I'm gonna give y'all some must-see, some 3 fire must-watch movies. Each and every episode 194. All these episodes, I've given y'all 3 movies to tune and tap into. Always fire. And I'm pretty sure y'all ain't never heard of my movies before. I'm a movie buff. So again, I'm gonna hook y'all up with 3 more movies to tap into that are must-watch. All right, so my first one to see came out in 1994, directed by Roger Donaldson, stars Kim Basinger, Alex Baldwin, Michael Madsen, Jennifer Tilly, James Woods, Philip S. Hoffman, and David Morse. That cast is crazy. This movie is called The Getaway. Fire, must-see movie. I'm telling y'all. This, again, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but this movie is about a top-tier, top-level thief, and he ends up getting caught, and you have to watch the rest of the movie. I won't ruin it. I won't spoil it for you. Make sure you tap in to see The Getaway. Second must-see movie came out in 1985, directed by William Friedkin. This movie stars William Peterson, William Dafoe, John Podna, John Torture, I always tear his name up. John Torero, Dean Stockwell, Deborah Fuhrer, and Darlene Figel. This movie is called To Live and Die in L.A. Y'all heard the cast. Another top tier cast. This movie is about a cop going undercover, trying to capture a criminal, and you got to watch the rest of the movie. I won't ruin it for you. So again, make sure y'all tap in to see To Live and Die in L.A. Third and final must-see movie came out in 1992, directed by Kate Shea. This movie stars Drew Barrymore, Sarah Gilbert, Shirley Ladd, Tom Skerritt, and introducing, well, not introducing, but a small role in Leonardo DiCaprio. This movie is called Poison Ivy. This movie right here. If this doesn't wake you up on how Hollywood moves, so this movie is about a young lady in high school who meets another young lady in high school. They become friends, and you have to watch the rest of the movie. This movie came out in 1992. This movie is the quintessential on what Hollywood is. From an acting standpoint, from a business standpoint, and from just a mindset standpoint. Because they were showing things in this particular movie. As a kid, for me, I was like, yes. But as a grown man watching it with a whole nother set of eyes, it's like, yo, what the is this? So make sure y'all tap in to see Poison Ivy. So my 3 must-see movies, again, tap in to see The Getaway, To Live and Die in LA, and number 3, Poison Ivy. Make sure y'all tap in to see those movies. The Quiet One, all 3 are bangers. I'm trying to tell you, right? These are it. I'm telling you. These are it. Trust me. Shout out to Dope. That was a good year. I'm trying to... See, people don't realize we got a whole... Movies were so good in the 80s, the 90s, that it was oversaturated. So some of these movies that did not become blockbusters was considered failures because they didn't do like box office numbers. But when you watch the movie, you like, yo, this movie is fire. So again, make sure y'all tap into those movies. And last episode I mentioned I Am 4, Spellbender, and Night of the Running Man, fire movies. So make sure y'all tap in to see these movies. These are fire movies. All right, y'all, moving on to our next one. When They See Us. Yes, that was the movie I could not remember about the kid that I was talking about that could play in the Bonnie and Clyde movie. Yes, the kid from When They See Us, the kid from that stars in Virgo. Yes, that's what about the exonerated 5 guys. Yes, thank you for that, Paul. Appreciate that, Paul. That's what's up. See how y'all be looking out for me? See how y'all be looking out for me? Love that, man. Appreciate y'all. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next one. I'm going to give y'all some music to tap into. Spotlight artists for tonight's episode. Again, whether they're new or old. Whether it's hip-hop or R&B, I'm going to give y'all that great vibrational music. My spotlight artist is R&B group Coffee Brown. Make sure you put these 3 songs on your playlist by Coffee Brown. Number 1. Oh, what is the song? Okay. Number 1. Blackout featuring Lady Luck. Number 2, Chick on the Side. Number 3, After Party. Make sure you put those 3 songs on your playlist. Again, by Coffee Brown. Number 1, Blackout featuring Lady Luck. And number 2, Chick on the Side. Number 3, After Party. Make sure you put these songs on your playlist. And some of y'all probably got After Party already on your list. After Party is a party staple. Your party ain't a party unless you play After Party at the party. So again, make sure y'all put those 3 songs on your playlist by Coffee Brown. All right, y'all, moving on. I'm going to give y'all a must-read book like I do each and every episode. Give y'all something to read. Must-read book, again, is called The Fitness Mindset. The Fitness Mindset. Make sure y'all tap into this book. The Fitness Mindset by Brian Keene. The Fitness Mindset by Brian Keene. The Fitness Mindset, eat for energy, train for tension, manage your mindset, reap the results. Great book. Make sure y'all tap into this book. A great book about nutrition and how to take care of your body. The things that we've been hand down, taught from one generation to the next, one era to the next is wrong. So make sure you learn how to take care of your body. Treat your body like your car. Your body is the most expensive thing you own. If you put poor gas in it, it's going to run poorly and it's going to start breaking down. You put that good old expensive gas because you can control it. and you get a top-notch body. So again, make sure you tap into this book. Again, it's called The Fitness Mindset. Eat for energy, train for tension, manage your mindset, reap the results. Again, by Brian Keene. Uh, Shout out to Patrick Torres in the building. My dude, appreciate you tapping in. One of our day ones. Appreciate you tapping in, man. All right, moving on to our next segment. Send them to Turkey or nah. Send them to Turkey or nah. Again, if it's your first time tapping in, people that do reckless things, say reckless things, we send them to Turkey. It became an inside joke on the show because Turkey has the most craziest laws that we've ever heard of. So we send people to Turkey. So again, we type in N not to send people to Turkey, or we type in T to send people to Turkey. All right, y'all. First one of the night. Send them to Turkey or nah. Send them to Turkey or nah. Viral topic. This is a viral topic, okay? Viral topic. 10 years. Okay, so this is a question. This is a viral topic question. Which one is harder? 10 years into the free world or 15 years in jail? Because the viral conversation that's going around this topic is that people are coming out saying that 10 years in the free world is harder to do than 15 years in jail. So are we sending that to Turkey? Are we sending that statement to Turkey? Not just the question, but that statement to Turkey. Is 10 years in the free world harder than doing 15 years in jail? Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Are we sending that to Turkey or not? Are we sending that to Turkey or not? Me personally, I'm not proud to say that I've been locked up several times. I never had to go to prison. I never had to go to county, booking and jail. It's all different. But being in booking is not something I could ever get used to. Quietly and lucky for me, I have a lot of law enforcement in my family. And, if and when I ever got locked up, it mattered to, pull some strings to get me out, And I don't say that in bragging. I'm saying that being there is not a place I could get used to. Being there brings the worst out of people. Being there creates a fight or flight mentality. Being there makes you more on who you are. When you're in survival mode, you go into survival mode. You have to become somebody completely different in order to survive. It's survival school. So prison in itself, I would think for me, doing prison 10 years would be harder than 15 years in prison would be harder than 10 years in the free world, because 15 years in prison, for me, it's like, all right, you're not with your, especially the time I got arrested, it's like, yo, you're not going to see your daughter, you're not going to be playing sports, you're not going to be doing music, wasted time for me is like a killer for me. So sitting somewhere and wasting somewhere would be an absolute murder. But I get the argument where people are saying that 10 years in the free world is harder than 15 years in jail, mainly because you have to deal with life. You have to deal with just everyday shit, bills, car payments, just being available and being accountable to everything that's going on. And if you hearing imagine being free for the last 10 years. Look at the last 10 years of your life. Was that easy? Well, that is because it's not easy to having to come up with that money each and every month. That's not an easy thing. So some people feel like sitting in jail and protecting yourself is easier than out here than living, because just in the living, you have to deal with people who do crime as well, and essays, but you got all other things on top of that as well too. So I get the argument. In the chat, shout out to uh, so let me see some of this comment. So send them to Turkey. It never want to be the time. Amount of time 7 NW. That sounds like something who is destructionized. How many? All right, I'm about to hook you up with some tickets, G, because you're being a weirdo. Quiet. You too pretty. You wouldn't make it. Front line. Your freedom is worth everything. Well, I appreciate somewhat the compliment, the quiet one. You know, I appreciate, but I've been there, so you know, you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't be the only guy that other women think is attractive that's in jail. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Don't let the face fool you. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, it will be more of a mental thing because it's wasted time. It's not because I can't defend myself. Okay? But jail is not even about defending yourself for real. Jail is about learning jail politic. Jail is completely different. Jail is jail, and then county is different. Prison is different. So, you know, you know what I'm saying? But again, defending yourself matters, but it's more to it than just defending yourself. Because you're not going to fight just one person. You're going to fight several people. You might be lucky and get fades. Because fades is designated for people who can not only fight and really protect themselves, but it's really for people who are serious. People who are not serious, they get jumped. It's a respect when you could get 7 to 8 fades in county or in prison. That's out of respect, because they could just handle your ass. And that could happen to any and all men. No matter how big, no matter how strong, no matter how diesel you are, that goes for all men. So, yeah, your freedom is worth everything. And that's my thing too. My main thing is mental. And me personally, I have an addictive personality, meaning once I'm all the way invested into something, I'm all the way invested into something. So because I have that mindset, I'm very goal oriented. I'm very ambitious. I can't imagine me sitting anywhere. Even sitting, if I had to sit in my house for the next 15 years, that's a form of jail. Even though I love my home, if I can't go nowhere, that's a form of jail, right? I'm not able to leave and gain experiences that help me to grow and build, right? So, you know, I think that would be harder for me personally doing 15 years in jail instead of 10 years in the real world. But I get the fact that people are dealing with real mental illnesses and not being aware emotionally what's happening day to day, because you see it every day. People are really crashing out, just living life, So it's both are very hard. Living in the free world is very hard. You got people moving back home with their parents to save on bills. You got all people doing all types of schemes and scams. So it's tough either way. It's tough either way. Some people, again, rather be in jail because they get 3 hots in the cot. And everything in jail for real, once you in jail or even in prison, it's expected. It's a mundane routine. Every day you go on to bed at 7 p.m. Every day. Unless there was some sort of incident and so on and so on. You might go to bed at 5 p.m. Yes, 5 p.m. They send grown men to bed at 5 p.m., 7 p.m. in prison. That's why they call it institutionalized, because you're going to go into the system. You're going to do what they say. You're going to follow their program. So that for some people, that's easier for them to do because that develops their routine. They rather keep their cot or their room area clean instead of a whole house. A whole house is overwhelming to maintain. If you ever owned a house before, having a house is nerve-wracking. This is broke, that broke. You got to get this fixed. You got to get that fixed. And them bills be different. Oh, you don't get stuff like, oh, the toilet needs a little tightening. No, it'll be something like the roof is leaking. Like, all right, let's get the roof fixed. How much? Oh, it's going to run you about $2,300. $2,300? Yeah, we got to do the installation. We got to do the coat the outside. And then we got to unpeel it at, the foundation. Go crazy. So some people can't live in that realm, and living in the free world, everything is unexpected. So I get it. I get it. Shout out to Patrick Torres, but you know what? There's no excuse for a person to not have a job these days. We live in an era of a gig economy. Okay, facts. Flood damage. Yes, flood damage. Shout out to Vic. Our badge holders is showing up tonight. Shout out to Vic. Can a brother get a rap? That's a fact. You already know Vic. Get a rap. Home insurance. Yeah. People don't understand when you paying, when you have a house, instead of paying the $800, $900 one-bedroom apartment, that house more likely gonna be 2-3 bedroom. You're looking about at least $2,700 on the mortgage. If you get you a decent price house, you're looking about $2,700 on the mortgage. And that's not an easy thing to do for a lot of people out here. They just had a study that's saying if you got $5,000 in your account, that means that you're literally 90% richer than, you're 90% richer than 90% of the population, which is crazy. All it takes is 5,000 in your account for that. People are literally living check to check. 5,700 in California. That is, California prices is so ridiculous. It'd be like, yo, like when I was in California not too long ago, gas was like at like $7.79, and I'm like, yo, who pulling up to the gas station $7.79 a gallon? Who came up with these prices, dog? How y'all making it? How y'all driving around? Which is crazy. And I was in Los Angeles. I was in like the area of, I forget the name of the area in particular, or the street where they have all the Hollywood stars. And even that was interesting in itself, because walking the Hollywood stars, nothing but homeless people lived on the Hollywood stars. They had tenant houses on top of the Hollywood stars. So I'm like, damn, isn't that ironic when you have all this greatness in Hollywood, in a place of California where they celebrate you for your greatness, but the people that don't have no choice but to sleep on these stars. And they're not even supposed to sleep there, and people are building tenant houses to have somewhere to sleep, which is so ironic to me. Let me get a forehand. I want a 3. I'm trying to tell you, man. New York prices are not far behind from California. I remember when, I know I'm gonna sound real old right now, but I don't even care. But I remember when gas prices was like 209, and that 209 was like, yo, we gotta pay 209? Like, yo. Now we talking about 779, which is crazy. Slauson. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I was by the Beverly. I was everywhere. I was there. I also went to, of course, you got to go to Rodeo. I went over to Myrtle to hoop. I went over to Myrtle to hoop. I went to Santa Monica to hoop. I went to quite a few places in Cali. And the other place was by the Beverly Hills Mall. And then I went to another mall as well. Yeah, I know the name of the mall when I hear it, but yeah. But Cali showed me love. A lot of people say, yo, if you're an artist, don't go to Cali, bro. Yo, dude's gonna press you. Da, 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 da. Like, yeah, nah. I went to Cali and I got love. I got love. I don't know, maybe because I got family in Cali too. Like, shout out to my Inglewood family in Cali. But, you know what I'm saying? I roll with love, you know what I'm saying? I don't get that same type of energy as other people get, you know? People talk crazy online, but in person it hit different. 99 gallons in high school. That's a fact, Vic. Yes, it costs $3.50 a day is survive. Minimum wage in Cali is 16 an hour. All love. That's a fact. Now that's a fact. That's a fact. So yes. So I guess we're not sending that to Turkey. You look like you're from Cali. Eh, Hey man, I kind of but I I just get love everywhere I go, man. I get again. I walk with love. I receive love, and people can tell. People can tell that I carry a certain energy that is respectful, that is grown man, and like I got nothing to prove. I got nothing to prove. I got nothing to prove. I told my daughter one time, I said, you ever wonder why I could go into like the craziest neighborhoods with my jewelry on and Rolex and all that stuff? And she was like, I was like, your father got a past. And I'm not proud of my past, but it made me the man to understand that all places deserve respect. All men deserve respect. Walk with respect and you'll receive respect. Don't have to be a gangster. Don't have to be Tony Montana. Don't have to had, killed 16 people and nah, people just know. People just know. People just know, especially dudes. That's all I'm saying. But Cali always showed me love. Cali always showed me love. That's a fact. No way you look exactly like you're from New York. No PNB. And shout out to PNB Rock, but again, it wasn't no jab at him, but y'all get the point that I'm making. Y'all get the point what I'm making. You get respect because you give that's a fact. That is a fact. So and in all the places I've been to California, again, the type of energy and love, I don't know, man. Like I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised. I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised, but I ain't gonna front. I have a good time in Cali, man. I have a good time in Cali, man. One of my bros, one of my day ones, he lives in California. He's a really good actor. If y'all ever seen the BMF series, he played K9 in the BMF series. Shout out to my bro Rayon Lawrence. So even when I went out there, he was also out there, and we went around to a couple of clubs, and some of them Cali women is just. I'm just saying, like, y'all dudes in Cali, like, y'all got it. I don't even know how y'all be beefing with all that fineness walking around. It'd be like, yo, I could kill. Damn, baby. Ooh, you still want to fight? She fine, dog. That's primo. Like, I don't even understand sometimes because it's too much fineness. People get into car wrecks in Cali because the women are so fine. You just be driving and you be like, oh, bop, you just that quick. You got into a car crash because a woman be that fine, finger licking good. Just saying, man. Shout out to my New York women because I don't want my New York women to feel excluded. I love my New York women because of their aggressiveness. They stylish. Nobody could put that drip on like the New York women. You know what I'm saying? But the Cali women just be. I don't know what y'all got in the sauce or in the water in California. The women just you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to fight, bro. I don't want beef, bro. I'm trying to get to the panties. So shout out. I know I'm being stupid, but I mean it though. I'm being dead serious though. I think y'all can tell I'm being dead serious. Killer Cali, Brownsville. Okay, we got Brownsville in the building. Yeah, I'm from Flatbush, baby. So it's love, Crash. T-ball. Now I'm telling you, it's a fact. They be that fine. You get into whole car crashes. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the women from Cali. All right, y'all. Our next Cinnamon Turkey or not, UCLA fires head coach Deshaun Foster after a short stint. He went 5-10, so that's very quick. For those who don't know, a full college football season is 12 games. He got fired after 15. So you mean to tell me you only gave this man a year to coach your team? Mind you, Deshaun Foster was a great player in college as well, and he doesn't get the real opportunity to build a program. There's no coach in America that could build a program in 15 games, especially a first-time head coach. You got to give him some time to cook. You got to give a new coach at least 3 years. At least 3 years to build the program, especially like UCLA. Now, some people say, well, UCLA is a big program. Yeah, they're big as far as their NIL deals and packages. Not as big, pause, as some of the other schools, but because it's UCLA, it's in a prime area like California. It's easy to recruit because you have great players. Like California is probably top 3 in recruiting hotbeds, arguably year to year. So, and UCLA is probably the second school that most people, if you want to stay in California, you go either to USC or to UCLA as far as the top 2 schools. And then you start talking about Stanford and the Cal, Berkeley's, and so on and so forth. But 15 games is still not an ample amount of time to really make a real turnaround. Mind you, he went 5-10. Is that great? No. No, absolutely not. But these are his first 15 games. He hasn't did a full cycle of real recruiting. Because again, in a full season, you get 12 games. Now, of course, if you go to the playoffs or if you play in a bowl game, that's 13. So you give this man 15. How can he build the program? How can he get his players into the program that will help him win? His type of kids. So I always sending UCLA to Turkey for firing him too early. Type in T to send him to Turkey. Type in N not to send him to Turkey. I think we send UCLA to Turkey for this. Again, it's not an easy thing to turn a program around in 3 years. He didn't even get 3 years. He got 15 games. Coach Prime is somebody that I talk about because he's such a great player. He's also a good coach, and you've seen it, everywhere he's went, it takes time. He went to Jackson State. It took him some time, and Jackson State got really great. He's at Colorado. Before he got there, they was losing by 30 on average. The first year, they won 4 games, and honestly, the first year was kind of like a mulligan because 4 of those games, it was without Travis Hunter, and I believe 2 or 3 of those games was without Shador. So, but still, he won 4 games. The very next year, he wins 9. So again, I use Coach Prime as a template because it takes time to build a program. And Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, is probably the biggest name in college football, and it's taking him time. So imagine a brand new coach. How much time do you think he's going to need? He's going to need time. So I'm sending him to Turkey for firing him too early, in my estimation. Line, quarterback, defense have to recruit. Yeah, college football is completely different. College football, if you have either a very famous coach or a charismatic coach, a guy with a whole lot of charisma, you're able to build your program faster, get in the players that you need, but you also have to have culture, the right scheme, and what your team, like, what is it that we're supposed to do here? Because every team got their own style. So again, you got to give this guy some time. And I'm sending him to Turkey. People don't realize how hard it is to be a college coach because If a player do great this year, doesn't mean he's gonna stay. Like, yo, coach, Michigan want me. And they willing to pay me about 1.5 million for my services. I want to stay. Can you match it? Nah, we can't match it. We can give you 500,000. Oh man, I appreciate the opportunity, but I gotta go get that 1.5. So it's not an easy thing. So it's, to me, 15 games is not enough. So I'm sending them to Turkey in my estimation. The chat is saying the same thing in the chat. Shout out to Vic. High school football is even harder. Well, I mean, high school football to me is not harder. To me, it's not harder if you have a system. That's the only thing I disagree with. The reason why I say it's not harder is because year to year, you retain 90% of your roster in high school. 90%. So it's easier because most high schools, the kids go to the school where it's located. You know what I'm saying? When you are out, like when you're really outstanding, you are a traveling player. Like, yeah, I'm not trying to toot my home horn, but when I was in high school, I got recruited to go to my high school. I had to travel a whole hour and a half to get to Flatbush, Brooklyn, all the way to Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, and I had to take two trains and a bus to get to that school. So I was actually recruited to the school. If I didn't play football, I couldn't go to that school, even though I had the grades. So you still have kids who do travel, but that's like not even on average 5% of the roster. So that's why I disagree on that aspect. But you do have kids that do travel though. Just practice, Christian high schools, post up. Like that's what I'm saying. So now when you talk about the private schools, right? The private schools, their retention rate again is different because those Christian schools, the parents pay for those kids to be there. And the kids that do have the scholarships, that do travel, that's only like 5% of your roster. That's not, a total part of your roster. In college, you have about 100 guys on your team. You could look up during the transfer portal and it'd be like 50 guys in the transfer portal. So that's 50% of your roster. And half of those guys played significant minutes. You like, yo, bro, how would you transfer in and you started and you killed and we got you the ball, or you got a whole bunch of tackles? Like, what the heck are you doing? It's like, I gotta get that money in. So I think that's what makes it harder for college, in my opinion. But you may see it a little differently. They recruit red shirts. Well, high school, they have to red shirt differently. College, you could red shirt formally. High school, a form of red shirting is actually not going. How they used to redshirt guys in high school is by keeping guys in junior high school for another year on purpose. So that way now when they come to high school and they play on that freshman team or they play on a varsity, they play in that 15 as a freshman. So that gives them a leg up because, my strength and speed as a 15-year-old kid as a sophomore was completely different from when I was 14. And I killed at 14. So, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying it to, make the point on the year makes a difference as far as athletic ability. So, so yeah. But it's very hard. So at the end of the day, we send in UCLA to Turkey for firing Deshaun Foster after 15 games. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy. I played with Lawrence Phillips in high school. Okay, Lawrence Phillips was that was a dog right there. That was a dog. The only thing I didn't like about Lawrence Phillips is that he played with the Thurman Thomas face mask. He played with the one ball and the two on the side. That was just, they used to do running back so dirty in the early 90s, hooking them with that whack face mask. Shout out to Emmitt Smith because he changed the game with the fire face mask he had. And you see Dion with that face mask. But guys like Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, Lawrence Phillips had that one ball. Even Bo Jackson had that one ball. To us. Nasty work, dog. So, nasty work. All right, y'all. Moving on to my next segment. Y'all already know what time it is. It's time to Rap. This segment is brought to you by Button Snaps. Again, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentary, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. First hot topic of the night. Utah Governor Spencer Cox, pause, says suspect in Charlie Kirk assassination is not cooperating with authorities and the motive is still unclear. There will be official charges filed this Tuesday. So the charges is not officially filed, and the man that is accused and suspected to doing the murder is Tyler Robeson. Fox News had later also revealed that the reason why he did the murders is because the murder of Charlie Kirk is because he supposedly had a trans girlfriend who was transitioning, and even though he had a real debate with Charlie Kirk in his forum on how he goes to different campuses and have his debates face to face, they did have a clip of him having a formal debate, but that was said to be one of the motives. Now, how clear that is, it still remains to be seen because that was reported by Fox News. But again, how did Fox News get that information? And the Utah governor don't have the clear motive on why this murder took in place. Let me know what y'all think about this in the chat. He was murdered, California. Oh, you're talking about Lawrence Phillips? Yes. Yeah. I remember Lawrence Phillips' story. Yes. But let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, the Utah governor Spencer Cox says the suspect in for Charlie Kirk assassination is not cooperating with authorities and motives is still unclear, and there will be official charges filed this Tuesday of the accused suspect of Tyler Robeson. And Fox News also reported that he felt the type of way as far as Charlie Kirk's views against trans people because Charlie Kirk is suspected of having a trans girlfriend. Again, I don't know how true that is, but that's what Fox News have reported. Shout out to Messiah in the building. Badge holder. We got them badge holders in the building, man. Appreciate you in the building. Yeah. So me personally, when they say he's not cooperating, it's just a matter of time. If they have you on tape and all the evidence going to lead to you gun residue and footprint and all the whole nine of what they feel like they have, especially video camera, but videos can be altered. We do live in an AI space, but if all evidence do point to him, it won't even matter if he cooperates or not because he's going to get charged. He's going to be officially charged Tuesday. And because of the day that Charlie Kirk was murdered on and all the madness going on in between, it got kind of sticky when it comes to filing the charges. Now, it does make it easier to file sooner than later when somebody is cooperating. But being that he's not, it doesn't mean he's going to get off. This is just a power play or just prolonging the process. He's not going to get off on this. Now, if the evidence don't point to him, then obviously he will. But the evidence is overwhelming at this point based on what we see, based on what we know. So there's a whole nother things that we don't know that could point it into a whole nother favor or that could further shut it down even more as far as put the nail in the coffin, so to speak. So it's quite interesting that he's not, working with the authorities to, move these proceedings along. But it's quite interesting that Fox News had the story that he was dating a woman who's in transition or a man that was in transition to be a woman. And, And that was his reasoning because of Charlie Kirk disdain against trans people, or what he feel that, with trans people, or his proclivities on trans people. So that still remained to be seen. But there is a clip of him having a debate with him in the forum on how he would normally have his debate. It's Biggs. I don't know. My son changed my info. Oh, that's Biggs. Oh, Biggs in the building. Okay, my bro Biggs in the building. All right. What's up? Christopher Rivera in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. One of our day ones. What's up, brother? How are you doing? Proud of you being you. You are truly an inspiration. Appreciate that. Thank you for that. Love the love. Pause. And I appreciate you for saying that, my brother. Really do. Shout out to Vic. 98% of convictions come from circumstantial evidence. Wow, that's a stat I want to look into. That's a stat I'm going to look into. That's a stat I want to look into. And it's not saying I don't believe you, but when I'm looking into that stat, so that way I can speak on it and do it justice. So that's why I say I want to look up when I want to have more detailed information to give to other people. So I'm gonna tap into that. Not calling you wrong at all. Not calling you wrong at all. I just want to speak on that intelligently. The quiet one. One of the roommates of the shooter is transgender and is cooperating with the FBI. I did hear about that. Yes, I did hear about that portion as well too. Yes. But that person's also cooperating, letting them know like, yo, whatever he did is what he did. I got nothing to do with it, B. I'm here, because I'm just trying to help y'all out, G. Because when them feds start knocking, you either cooperate or they going to get you straight with them numbers in prison. In California anyway. So the motive is... Yeah, I can't say the rest of that, Vic. Can't say the rest of that. Yeah. So, if this is true of him doing this because he has a lover and, they have a lifestyle together, if this is true, he still is wrong. That doesn't give him the right. Living a certain lifestyle, you don't have to agree. You don't even have to accept it, but you have to respect people as human beings. Now, do I have to live in the delusion if I feel like you're in delusion? No, I don't. But I still have to respect you as a human being, not to take your life. And it was quite funny. I had made a clip and speaking on this prior to, and you have people in the chat, and it was one particular person that kind of like, it kind of like, I looked at them different after that, mainly because it's not the fact that they disagreed, it was the wording that they use. And it's like, wow, you can't disagree with me and be respectful. And I know you in real life. I know if you saw me in real life, face to face, you would not speak with all this vigor and energy. I know that for a fact. I know you. It's different. So to see somebody speak in with that type of energy and those type of words that they was using was mind-boggling. And the thing about it is, the realm of where they was going to, that it was basically okay. They was basically saying, nah, if he die, he dies. They hit him with the Russian saying from Rocky IV, if he dies, he dies. I get it. Should it be celebrated? No. I'm on record about racism. I've been on record about it. Am I for it? I'm already on record balking at racism. If you know me, you know I speak against racism all the time. Celebrating somebody's death, I'm not with it. I don't have to celebrate their life neither. I don't have to say rest in peace, bro. He died at such and such. I didn't care for him, but I'm not going to go out my way to disrespect him, regardless of what he stood up for. For example, for people that don't appreciate my complexion and people that look like me, is it right for me to go around unaliving them because they don't like my complexion? No. No. They don't have to patrol me. They don't have to tune in. They don't have to hear me. And neither do I. It goes both ways. I go this way, you go that way. If you put your hands on me, though, then I'm going to have to put you down. I don't have to kill you. I don't have to take your life. Like, let's be all the way honest here with this. So at the end of the day, having a disagreement with someone based on your lifestyle. I can't remember the last person that, let's say, all right, I got a nice car, right? Okay, so people that don't like nice cars, I'm going to go around unaliving people that don't like nice cars? Because it's my lifestyle? No, that's ridiculous. Same as being ridiculous when somebody don't praise your lifestyle. It's your lifestyle. We live in this world where it's billions of people. Everybody's not going to get along. Everybody's not going to see things the same way. Things are really based in subgenres more than racism. Racism is still used as a tool, simple and plain. So because, and these subgenres, for those who don't understand subgenres, is music, it's sports, it's podcasting, it's political ties. It's all these different things that are subgenres that really bring together people together more than apart. People that live in the same area, they don't necessarily live in that area because it's a white area or it's a cultured area. Now, there is some areas that, yes, I'm not debunking the fact that some people don't move into certain areas because it's a white area. I'm not debunking that fact. But what I'm saying is most people go to where their money can go. So if you have a cultured family in a quote white area, they're going to be there because their money allows them to be there. I haven't seen a billionaire move to the hood. I haven't seen that. On both sides, there's trailer parks and there's nice areas. When's the last time you seen a white billionaire move to the trailer park because it's white folks there? But that's also kind of skewed and slanted, right? So let's be all the way honest, because again, they don't have to, right? So when's the last time you seen a cultured billionaire move to the hood and he's a billionaire? And it's cheaper in the hood, right? Why doesn't he live in the hood? Why? He live in the upper echelon area of where his money will allow. So there are areas that you can only for real live there because of your complexion. There's something called redlining. Yes. So I'm not debunking that. But I also want to make clear is that people are more together based on your subgenre. So even where you live, the people that you associate with, the people that you talk to on a regular basis, the people who do the things that you do, those are the people that you deal with. That's your subgenre. How you think California became California? How do you think Hollywood became Hollywood? When these places first was there, they was quote unquote white areas. Compton was a quote unquote white area. Then when you had people that was moving there based on development deals, and okay, if we move a cultured family in here, we'll get a bigger development deal because we have inclusion. And with inclusion in some of these neighborhoods also came with job opportunity, which raised their money to a whole nother level. Now, when you have a whole system of people moving in, yeah, now it becomes, we're gonna move up out of here because not just the color of the skin, but we're not aligned in our interests. And let's keep it real. There's a big difference in aligned interests with white folks and cultured people from the 50s to 2025. It's a big difference. And I'm not saying the world is comfy and cozy. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, it's about the money. Most people are in spaces because of their money. We don't live in the 50s era where it's like, yo, I'm going to move from over here because it's too many of this. It's because the interest is not the same. If the interest is the same, them people ain't losing their house. They not moving. It's too much equity in the house. Nah, we keeping this in the family, bro. Now, some people may downsize and move somewhere more quieter, yes. So we got to keep this thing in perspective. And I feel like I went down a rabbit hole on this. But at the end of the day, with this situation, you don't have the right to take somebody like because they don't agree with your lifestyle. Simple and plain. The things that I do and my lifestyle, if somebody didn't agree with it, like that's why I mentioned the car and having a nice vehicle, that doesn't give somebody to unalive me. That doesn't give me the right to unalive them because they don't like nice cars. The hell? Like, we got this thing all the way twisted. I lived in black community, 20 years, San Bernardino, California. Shout out to San Bernardino. Y'all some wild boys in San Bernardino. Y'all got your own lingo. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got your own lingo. I love that. My brother-in-law is district manager at Starbucks, and he's cultured and lives in a bad neighborhood. Okay. Get money, get more for your money. Jay-Z said that's the best thing you can do for poor people is become one. Ooh, damn. Quiet one. You hit a jewel right there. Dope. Materialistics. Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that there is not exceptions to the rule. I'm not saying that. But most people that make over a certain amount of money, they do not live in the hood. This is not, again, this is not the 80s where cultured people got opportunities to own houses in bad neighborhoods. And that money was completely and considerably way cheaper than what it is now. The whole purpose of a bad neighborhood, what people don't realize, is all about economics. It's all about making the neighborhood even worse. And I don't like taking on the moniker that all bad neighborhoods is cultured based, because we know that's not true, right? But the distinction is that people who make over a certain amount of money don't live in bad neighborhoods. They live in nice neighborhoods or working class neighborhood, bare minimum. When you make over a certain amount of money, you rather live in a working class neighborhood, pay more on your rent or on your lease or your mortgage, to live in a neighborhood where your son or your daughter can walk down the street safely, where there's not dog shit all over the place. Like, let's keep it real. If you make over a certain amount of money, you rather live in a neighborhood like that. You rather live in a neighborhood where it's well lit and light, not in a neighborhood where when it hits 7:30, it's pitch black out here. The city haven't been over here in over a decade to fix a light, a bulb, but nothing out this mug. Nobody that makes over a certain amount of money lives in those type of neighborhoods. They just don't. So the exception, or the few people that do, we're talking about the norm. The norm. If you make over 80 to 100,000 a year, you're going to live in a neighborhood that's reflective of that. At bare minimal, you're going to live in a working class neighborhood where when you go to work, the whole damn street go to work. The whole street go to work. It's quiet hours during 9 p.m. to 3 p.m. on that block, because everybody at work and everybody coming home around the same time, because it's a working class neighborhood. Squatting is good for neighborhoods. East Side. See, and here's the thing why it's a business on why neighborhoods are ran down. They ran down on purpose so because developers could come in and buy up the neighborhood. It's the same old, same old. It's the old adage. That's why certain neighborhoods stop getting maintained. When I go back to Brooklyn and I'm like, yo, this part of Flatbush is nice now? When they put these 5 condos up over here, I remember this block being completely different. Like, yo, this is Bedford Avenue? This is Bed-Stuy? You mean to tell me this is around the corner from Fulton, dog? Nah. This is Albenmore? Damn. Albenmore got nice. So for years, the whole purpose is to drive down the neighborhood to buy it back for pennies. Pennies on the dollar. And that's a strategy. That's an old strategy. And that's why people that's aligned with the money is in the business of money. People who align with the money is in the business to making more money. That's why when we spoke about earlier about people going to Harvard and having the money to go to Harvard, it's something about that degree that they can pay for that's going to get to the bottom line on something else. They about the money. It's an art to making money. Education could lead to some money. But money, the art of money is completely different. And it's a whole nother conversation too. Nottingham. Oh, talk about in Robin Hood. Yes. Perfect example of Robin Hood. In Robin Hood. He was gone for a couple years. They thought he had died in the war. The town just took his crib. You know what I'm saying? This is owned by the township. You know what I'm saying? And he went in there like, yo, nah, I'm the real Robin of Locksley, dog. Run my crib. Give me my deed back. And they had to give him his deed. In Texas, less than 100K. That's a fact. Y'all got some great. Texas, y'all overbuild houses. That's what makes that Texas market so amazing. In Texas, they overbuild in Texas, and what that means, y'all, is for 100,000, it'll look like a damn palace. Don't mess around and get a house that's like 350, 375 in Texas. You're gonna have 4 or 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a pool in the back, a drive-up driveway, gates on top of that. And when people drive past the house, it's like, yo, who lived there? Texas houses in Texas is crazy. And they overbuild and them things come out beautifully. But I did a lot of shows in Texas. Like I ran through some of those Texas cities when I was on tour. And I ain't gonna hold you. If I had to move to any area of Texas, right? My vibe, this is my vibe. Dallas is my vibe. I'm just saying. Dallas, I'm feeling Dallas. I'm feeling Dallas. Dallas, I like the vibe of Dallas, me personally. Houston was popping. But Houston felt like it rains all the time. And it felt like it gets a lot of floods over there. Austin was cool. I like Austin. That came in a close second. Austin was cool. I'm messing with Austin. San Antonio was alright. I would prefer to live downtown San Antonio than in the suburbs of San Antonio. San Antonio kind of reminds me of like a lesser version of Orlando. But San Antonio was popping. I like San Antonio. I've been there too. I've been to Dallas, San Antonio. Been Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Austin. What's the other one I went to? But yeah, but Dallas is my vibe. Dallas is definitely my vibe. And I've been to Arlington. But Dallas is my vibe. Yes. Corpus. I had a friend that lived there, Vic. I had one of my boys live out there. El Paso. El Paso sound hella hot. I ain't gonna hold you. El Paso, I believe that's East Texas or that's either West Texas or South Texas, El Paso. that sound hella hot, dog. I ain't gonna hold you. Florida, it get hot in Florida, but El Paso sound like you could throw an egg on the floor and you could just cook that right there. I'm sorry, I'm new. Are you a singer or artist? Yes, I'm a rapper. Yes, I'm a rap artist. Yes, that's a fact. Uh, just add water. Just add water. Yeah. So when I went out there, it was love, but my the city that caught my heart though for real was Dallas. Dallas is sexy. Dallas is sexy. I ain't gonna hold you. Like the areas that I seen in Dallas, it was sexy. Of course, Dallas had their hood areas, but it was sexy. You know what I'm saying? The city was sexy. The vibe was popping. They got the condos with the like the brick condos out there. Fire. You know what I'm saying? Fire. It looked like a movie, and it wasn't expensive. So, and it was overbuilt. It was huge. So and the leader of Immature. Come on, Vic, man. Baddies. A whole lot of a whole lot of nice looking women in Dallas. Yes, yes. Places I was surprised that had very beautiful women. Dallas was one. I knew Houston had them. I knew Houston had. When I went to Houston, I was like, okay, 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 okay. They had them. I knew they was gonna have them. You know what I'm saying? But Louisiana, New Orleans in particular, pressure. And then their accent on top of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little sucker for accent. You know what I'm saying? So Creole, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. You know, the accent had me. You know what I'm saying? And it was fun, and it was kind of aggressive on top of that. So, had a good time out there too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. The most anticipated fight of the year just went down. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford won in an anonymous decision. Super middleweight fight. And it was very convincing. It was very dominating. Now, again, when I give out my sports takes, it's not popular, but I don't care. You know what I mean? I say it because it needs to be said, right? And I predicted Bud will win. I predicted Bud will win mainly based on mentality. We've seen Canelo lose before. So because he lost before, when things get super active, there's a place in his mind was like, yo, I could possibly take this L burger. Crawford don't think he gonna lose ever. And it was just a shift in mentality, and you seen that mentality display itself in the ring. Bud was not only one, but he was 2, maybe 3 steps ahead of Canelo damn near every round. It was a very dominating fight. And one of the lefts that Crawford threw, Canelo looked at him like, so you hitting me, dog. Like so you must not like me. Like the way he looked at him after that punch, and it's not about it's the hurt game. You can't play boxing. It's about fight. You fighting we in here to get it, baby. And Bud was just ahead of him 1, 2, 3 steps every single round. It was very dominating. And like I said, I predicted that Bud will win. And he did. I think, like I said, the mentality played a huge part. And you've seen it display itself in the physicality, because people was worried about Bud's physicality because he had to make the weight. He had to come up in weight. So at the end of the day, I mean, it was very dominating, and that's very hard to do, to come up in weight to fight somebody, because that's not your natural walk around weight. See what I'm saying? So imagine me right now being, I'm like $160. No, I'm like $170. I'm like $165. Yeah. So if I'm $165 and I had to work my way down to 140, No, that's how I get down to like 162. No, I'll say 158. If I had to get down to 158, I would have a much bigger advantage than somebody having to make 158. So, and then on top of it, even though I'm like 165, 170, I don't look it. I look much heavier, you know what I'm saying? Can't see with the jacket, you know what I'm saying? But I'm being stupid. But y'all get the point that I'm making. I'm saying it to make the point. So it was very convincing to see Bud do what he did. He was outstanding. I think it's safe to say that he is the best boxer that we have in boxing, pound for pound. I think it's also safe to say that he's probably also the biggest draw. And normally when somebody is really good at something, they're not technically the biggest draw. And his personality, he has personality, but he's not necessarily outgoing. He's not, looking for the camera. He will answer questions, but he's not looking for the camera. So to see him to get the support that he's getting just based off skill is amazing to see, to be honest with you. And I'm glad he won the fight, man. I'm glad he won the fight. He also, after the fight, gave Alvarez or Canelo his belts back. Gave him all his belts back. I'm like, yo, that's what's up. I mean, it's already on record he won the fight, but he gave him his belts back. Me, I'm the type of petty, I ain't gonna give you your belts back, dog. I'm gonna send you home beltless, bruh. But what people don't realize, when you hold on to belts, you have to pay for them. Like when you're having your fights and things of that nature, there's upkeep and maintenance on those belts that you have to register per fight. So that's probably another reason why Bud gave up all them belts back. I believe he gave them back like 4 to 5 belts. That's a lot of money on each and every fight to be fighting with. So shout out to Bud Crawford. Shout out to Canelo for fighting a good fight as well. He's still a great fighter. He's still going to go down as a great fighter. But Bud was the better man. He was the better fighter. And he deserved all the accolades and everything that comes with that. So shout out to the champ, Bud Crawford. I was 138 a year ago. I'm back to 180. Bro, it'd be hard to keep that weight off. It'd be hard to keep that weight off. When you're moving around, it'd be easier to lose it. And my weight always fluctuated because growing up, I boxed, I played football and basketball. And then when I stopped boxing, my weight fluctuation was always up and down. So for football season, I was heavy. Basketball season, I was light. So my weight always had the ability to go up and down. So, but in college though, when I played college football, I played at 235 at running back. So I was kind of heavy. So, and I got bigger than that when I left, when I stopped playing. I stopped working out and everything. I got like, I got to show y'all pictures one day. I got up to like 240, and it was a bad 240. It wasn't a muscular nothing. It was like, yo, bro, put the hamburgers and hot dogs now down. Stop eating that night. Stop eating that cereal, 4 or 5s, like just running back bowls of cereals. Like, stop eating fast for all that. So, yeah, I had to do all that. Unified champ, that's a fact. I had surgery. Word, now that's a fact. Dang, 235, 206 is my max. Yeah, I was 235. I was 240 on the heavy side. I was 235, like football size, running back size. Yes, 235. It's kind of hefty. Yeah. Yeah, so again, shout out to Bud Crawford. Great fight. And we needed that. The world was anticipating it. Then when I said, yo, Bud will win, people was like, yeah, nah, bro. Nah. Alvarez, he's bigger, he got more power, this, that, and the third. I was like, all right, mentality is everything in boxing. When 184 is my max. Yeah, man. I haven't been this light since junior high school. The last time I was like 165, no, I'm lying. I'll say freshman year. Freshman year, I was like maybe like a buck 65 in high school. Yeah. Yeah, Andy Ruiz and the Bronx Bomber. Yeah, but this fight right here was super anticipated. All right, y'all. Moving on to my next hot topic. Artists, and for the people. Is it time for artists to leave Spotify? Is it time for artists to leave Spotify? The reason why this question has came up because they have done a recent update, and within their update, they're actually we basically, as if you're an artist distributing your music through Spotify, with the new update and the new contract, you're basically an artist of Spotify. So basically, they could take your content, your music, and engage it with their own AI. So they can make AI music based on your style, based on your skill level, come out with music and make the money on, and even though you had the original idea, original thought, original IP. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is obviously the percentage. Uh, Spotify pays us the lowest percentage per thousand uh, per million on streams on Spotify as well. Um, and this also includes uh, copyright work as well. So when your music is copyright, is not basically yours anymore because being through Spotify, you're basically becoming their artist. So whatever music that you put on there, you're giving them the access to copyright your music and basically license it to other things and other parties without your knowledge, without them paying you. So they could take your music and put it onto other platforms and they will make the money for providing the service and providing the music. But you won't gain extra money for that. And the money that you do gain from that, if the aggregator is aligned properly, is pennies on a dollar. So is it time for artists to leave Spotify? Me personally, my music is already up. It's already up. Can I take it down? Of course. Of course. But even taking it down, and this is why Spotify and Apple and all these other all these other music providers do this, is because when your music is up, it creates a profile. It creates, when people look you up, it's easier to find you because you're in their database, you're in their system. Most people go to Apple Music, SoundCloud, uh, Spotify, um, Tidal to look for music, Pandora to go look for music, YouTube Music to go look for music. So artists have to be very strategic moving forward to pinpoint certain providers and leave out places like Spotify. One of the reasons why I'm carefully waiting to drop some new music is because I want to know what would be the best way of releasing it. I still want to get to my core base and core audience, but at the end of the day, I don't want to license my music with them because, again, I don't benefit from it. I want my listeners and people that really mess with me to benefit from my music as well as me. And nobody should benefit from my music more than me and any other artist. And the same thing goes for every other artist. Nobody should benefit from their music more than them. You the one that spend the money to go into the studio. You don't want to spend the money to buy the beat or to have a beat made or to sit down and create the beat by being in the studio, playing different instruments and so on and so forth. That's your time and energy. That's your intellectual property. So if we live in a space of art, how come music artists, true music artists, is the only art that's not benefiting from their art or getting the least amount? When a person is a painter and they're a great painter, they can have an art exhibit and they can have their stuff over here and they will get paid handsomely. When it comes to music, it seems like we're making pennies on something where we should be getting paid millions. And overall, that's what we will make through time. Some people don't make that at one time, but through time, in the next 20 years, you can see over 1 million and change if you distribute your own music properly. That's why me personally, I seen Cardi B, and you seen her make copies of her albums, whether it was CDs, whether it was vinyls. She had like this thing where she was in New York and had like old school style, where she had the tapes laid on the floor and the vinyls laid on the floor selling her music. And some people like laughed at that. I was like, that's nothing to be laughing about. We need to go back to that, because that was the way of really making our money, opposed to what it is now. Yes, it's easy for people to find us now. Yes. But at the same time, the benefit goes to the provider. It doesn't go to us at all. They just providing it. So artists, we have to find better ways in providing our own music for our core base and people that don't know. Because the whole purpose of being an artist is to reach everybody. Not just your core audience, but people that don't know you. People that didn't wake up thinking that they was going to find a song about you today. You got to find new faces, and when new faces see you, you want to turn that into a real listener. You want to turn that into a real way to take care of yourself. So again, why is music in the music space the only space where it's okay for artists not to take care of themselves through their business? So I think artists should leave Spotify as well if they're going to have these rules and new update in place, because it's only benefiting them at this point. So that's my thing on that. Bronze Bomber. Yeah, the Bronze Bomber. Yeah, the Bronze Bomber. Yeah, so all right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. NFL analyst, back at it again. NFL analyst Adam Schefter was told that the Ravens wanted they wanted to draft Shedeur Sanders at pick 141, which is 3 picks before he got drafted at 144 with the Browns. They spoke to Shedeur. We're going to draft you. Shedeur said, please, I appreciate the opportunity. I don't want to get drafted to Baltimore. The fact that they still running with this story, man, it's like, dude, if y'all don't let it go, we not going to let it go. Because we already know it was some BS for him to get dropped the way he got dropped. Now they're trying to bring out another story, trying to navigate the fact that he's not grateful and looking for real opportunity. Each and every year, this is why when you watch the draft and the guys got the phone, they show the phone call that they accept. They get calls from teams all the time. Like, yo, if you come up, we're going to draft you. And players do say, yeah, coach, I appreciate it, but I'd rather not play in the cold weather. I'd rather not play in a state that doesn't have state taxes, or do have state taxes, I should say. I'd rather play, I have a chance to play locally where I grew up. I would appreciate it if you don't draft me. That's not something that's new. And for him respectfully declining not to get drafted by the Ravens is not a bad decision either. You have one of the best quarterbacks in the world playing for the Ravens in Lamar Jackson. When is he ever going to play? When is he ever going to play? 2-time MVP. When is he ever going to play? Now, could he have gone there and developed? And yes and no, because the Baltimore system is not the same as Shedeur. Shedeur is used to, Baltimore system used to be Cleveland's system with a little bit more deep passing. But it used to be Cleveland system because before Lamar Jackson, they had Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco happens to be the Browns quarterback. And when they drafted Lamar, the knock on Lamar when he was coming out, that they wanted him to be an athlete. They didn't even want him to be a quarterback. That's why he went so late in the draft where the Ravens had to come back and get him. And then when they went to Lamar as their quarterback, they had to change the whole system around. So why would Shedeur, who doesn't play like a Lamar Jackson, that have the same type of traits as far as the athleticism and playing in that type of system, that won't benefit him because his strengths is reading defense, is getting the ball out quick, uh, and downfield, throwing the ball downfield. He's even though Shador is not doesn't have the strongest arm in the NFL, but he has a live arm. He has arm talent, and he gets the ball downfield. But the system that's best suited for him was on the Browns. So him respectfully declining going to Baltimore is not a knock on him at all. Other players do it all the time. So, like, what are we talking about? So, again, they bringing up this story now, 5 months later after the draft. And what is this going to solve? Because you mean to tell me we're going to hear that as a public and be like, so then they really didn't, bring him down because they wasn't trying to give him a message and not because his talent. It's not because of the talent. They was trying to send the family a message. So this is why y'all bring out the story, because you don't want people to think that the NFL was trying to make a point. And some people are foolish enough to think, well, the NFL is about talent, and no, it's not. Talent eventually makes its way to the NFL. But the guys coming out of high school, it's a different evaluation process to college. We see all the time where quarterbacks are at Alabama, at Clemson, at all these great schools, and in the NFL they be struggling because they playing with top level talent at their school and they playing against other schools who ain't all the way together. So they look amazing, and when they get to the league, they struggle because everybody nice. So it's kind of skewed. So it's not based on talent. It's based on storyline. Talent eventually makes its way to the NFL in the later rounds, but it's not based on talent, because every player that makes it to the NFL could tell you about another guy that he played with that was actually better than him, that didn't have the grades, that had a kid too early. He didn't like to work out or something like that. There's a Booby Miles everywhere. There's a Booby Miles everywhere at every position all over the world. And the guy next to them ended up making it to the NFL. So it's not about talent, because if it was about talent, then all these teams will be in the business of winning. We just had a Sunday pass, and the same teams that been trash have continued to be trash for the last decade. When they got access to the same talent, the NFL is a simple motto: if you're trash, you get first crack at picking your team. So if you're in the business of winning, then you pick talented people. I don't want to call people names out personally and give people straight bullets to make my point, because I don't have to. We see it all the time. We watch the draft and be like, yo, they drafted this running back over that running back. Yo, he ran a 4.2. He's 225 pounds. He's 6'1". And he break tackles like no other. And you drafted this guy ahead of him? Yeah, because this guy, he likes to party. He hangs out with the wrong crowd. Then it's not about talent. It's about the storyline. Talent eventually makes it to the league. The NFL owners treat the NFL players like women. Women turn 21 every day, bro. The NFL, there's going to be talent that comes through every year, bro. There's going to be a new hot shot quarterback next year. There's going to be a new hot shot running back next year, and so on and so forth. So Adam Schefter bringing out the story, and he has a history of trying to denigrate and diminish cultured quarterbacks. He has a history of doing that. And if he was the answer to this, I would gladly debate him on this, because I have proof on this. Him bringing out this story is going to say what? That, so now the people was going to believe that, yeah, he got drafted at the right spot. Dog, cut it out. Cut it out. Top five jersey in the league and hasn't played a down yet. Cut it out. Moving on. Next hot topic. Okay. A man was beheaded. A man was beheaded at a Dallas hotel. Dallas, Texas hotel. A man was beheaded at a Dallas hotel with a machete. Yanis Cobas Martinez is accused for the murder. It's unclear at this point whether he received formal charges yet, because ISIS is trying to step in and have his case removed, so that way he could be sent back to his country. And this man was beheaded in front of his wife and child and his son. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Also, hit them likes, hit them 100s. Helps with the growth of the show, and it means the world to me. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. A man was beheaded at a Dallas hotel with a machete. Yadanis Cobas Martinez is accused of murder, and it's unclear whether there will be formal charges filed on capital murder. But because of ISIS want the removal to send him back, the charges are still formulating, and still, nothing has been, properly filed. And this happened in front of his wife and son. I think this man should go to jail here. I think this man should go to jail here. I think he should do life here with no parole and just rot. I really do. I really do. Him with the possibility of being deported, if he gets deported back to his country, he's going to be a free man more than likely. So he gets to murder and then go back to his country? Nah. We need to keep him here. We need to keep him here. He needs to do life in prison, no parole, in a max penitentiary, and let that be that. Throw him in a box and throw away the key. There's nothing to be redeemed about that. There was no respect of life. There was no worry or measure of what his wife and his son has to endure and see regarding this heinous crime. And that's what I believe. I don't think he should be able to be deported. I think him being deported is basically, he's getting subbed out. Basically, he's getting a chance to escape his crimes. He's getting a chance to escape the consequences that he brought upon himself. And some people is going to say, well, this is why, President Trump wanted, basically undocumented people out of here because of things like this. I can get that. But at the same time, once a crime is committed, you're here. You're here. But we can't spin the narrative that all people who's not documented is doing things like this. We can't say that either, because we know that's not true. We're talking about the norm, and we're talking about the exception. This right here is an exception. This is an exception. Maybe this was his ploy. Maybe this was his plan. He'd rather do life in prison here than go back and be a free man in this country. We talked about earlier, is it harder to live as a free man or to be in prison and endure prison life? If that was his motive, he'd rather endure prison life instead of making something of himself or having to worry about ever getting deported. Maybe one could surmise of that notion that he came to based on this crime. To behead somebody is crazy. To do it in front of other people at 12, I forget the exact time, but this is during the day. This is during the day. It's sunny outside. Bruh, you have no disregard of life. I'm sorry, you have no regard of life. Excuse me. You have no regard of life at all. So he needs to go to jail, do life, throw him in a box, throw away the key. That's nasty. To be murdered in front of your family. and to be beheaded on top of that, dog. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next hot topic. Shout out to Raiden. Appreciate you tapping in. Hit them likes, hit them 100s. It helps with the growth of the show. Appreciate you tapping in. Moving on to our next hot topic. Question, y'all. Would you live with your significant other? This has also become a big viral question. Would you live with your significant other? Let me know what you think about that in the chat. The reason why this is such a question, because you're seeing couples breaking up from moving in. For those who are living with their significant other and it works, that's a beautiful thing. But for a lot of people, you don't really know and learn somebody until they live with you. And that's a very hard thing to do. That could take you from looking at somebody with so much grace and so much beauty to be like, yo, I need to get away from you. Like, you don't like to clean up like that. You cook crazy. Your cough's so radical. Like, you know, it just be the little things after a while, right? You know, so it's become a thing where, like, even myself, if I was even entertaining the fact of being a life partner with somebody, because marriage to me, y'all, is about man, woman, and God. It doesn't take man, woman, and judge. And I also believe if that's the measure of marriage, man, woman, and God, then I could put policies in place to make sure that you're good in something that happens to me and vice versa. You don't need marriage to make sure that the people that you leave on is well taken care of. Policies takes care of all of that, right? So, with that being said, a part of that for me, if I was to do that with, you know, my significant other, with my, you know, I'm not with anybody at the moment, but if I was, you know, with my woman, you know what I'm saying? Hey, baby, let's move in. Nah, chill. You keep your spot. I keep my spot, baby. And, you know, I go home when I want to. You go home when you want to. When we get tired of each other, when we need our own space, to me, that's more worth the mindset, the beauty, leaves the mystery, than later on having to give up half my shit. Like, so you mean to tell me I worked all my life for all this and I gotta give up half this? Oh, hell no. So, you know what I'm saying? We see it all the time in shows and movies, in documentaries. People get taken out when they get half their stuff taken. And we trying to avoid all that, baby. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be like my mans that's beheading people, you know? So, me personally, I'm untraditional when it comes to my relationships. I'm untraditional in how I move and you know, and this, that, and that. You know what I'm saying? I'm traditional on who I date now, but I'm untraditional on how I date, if that makes sense. So again, when I take somebody serious and they're my girl, it's like, yeah, I did it one time. And after the one time, I did it twice, actually. I did it twice. I did it in college and I did it another time. And I'm like, yo, our relationship would have been a whole lot better if she had her own spot and I had my own spot. Well, it was my spot. I just moved it into my spot at the time. And I say, yo, majority of our arguments is stuff that's around the house. I'm like, yo, and that turns into an argument, you know? So it would have been better if she kept her spot or she got a spot and I kept my spot. So, but I'm seeing that being more prevalent in relationships today, where people who are married is opting to keep their separate homes or separate houses, which is beautiful. Which is beautiful because it gives people space to be. It gives you a space to do nasty stuff too. Like, you know, everybody got their own human nastiness, right? Yeah, go over there. Like, leave some mystery. Like, there's a, and there's no shout out, there's no shot at the girl. I'm not even gonna say the girl name, but there's a famous influencer that she's very beautiful, but she farts all the time, and she farts around dudes, and it's like, damn, like you mad cute, but you too comfortable farting around Regular dudes, I can't even imagine if you had a significant other. Like, you just gonna be in the bed, it's sexy, it's nice, y'all kind of oily, y'all chilling, and you just bust out a fart. Yeah, nah, like, nah, I'm about the sexy, baby. Don't fart in front of me. I like go in the bathroom, turn the shower on, and go fart in the shower or something like that before I get up in there. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact, in my opinion, that people are choosing to keep their own space because it's preserving the relationship. It's making the relationship better because everybody feel like they got their own space. So, and they don't feel overwhelmed, because that's also something in relationships where people could also feel overwhelmed as well. So I like that. In the chat, y'all agree with me in the chat. So yeah, it was good game. Yep, that's a fact. So, all right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. New data shows from the nation's report card, um, record lows in math and reading test scores among seniors in high school, and eighth grade students are also failing further in science. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, next topic is new data has showed that the nation's report card that is record lows in math and reading test scores among seniors in high school and eighth grade students even further in science. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, I'm not surprised. We live in a technology driven society, and we depend on technology. We don't use technology. There's a difference. We depend on technology damn near for everything, to let us know where we're going, to spell check, to solve a math problem. When in the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s, you you just had to have basic information, basic ability to spell, basic ability to read, and know basic abilities to have math skills and solve math problems in your head. Like I remember, and again, I'm gonna sound old by saying this, but I remember where my mom or my aunt or my brother or my dad would test me on my money knowledge. Like, yo, if I gave you $10, I go in the store. If I gave you $10 and I send you to the store to get me something for $2.50, what do you come back with, right? So it'll be things like that growing up that they always constantly tested me on to make sure that I had, again, the basic knowledge of that, right? Most kids don't. Most kids, when they give the guy money at the store, they depended on the guy to give him back the right change. Again, when I grew up, we're counting the change. Like, yo, bro, you shorted me 25 cents. I want my 25 cents. So again, it does make a difference, because if we're depending on technology, it's taking away exactly what the kids feel like they need to know, what they need to learn, those basic skills. So that's a big part of it. And also, we depend on technology for all the wrong things. We rather depend on technology to look up something that's more so trivial, opposed to something that you can do studies on. And not just do the studies on, finding ways to retain information. Because anybody could look it up on a phone, right? By just doing that AI Google search, because it's AI. You know that Google is fed by humans. So again, when you do the real research, again, I grew up at a time where it's going to make me sound real old, but we had something called the encyclopedias. And in the average cultured household, we didn't always have all the chapters. Encyclopedias was hella expensive, so I know this is gonna sound bad, but we used to kind of steal them from the libraries and schools and stuff like that. If we could get the A section of the encyclopedia, we'll take that home, because that was basically our phone. That was basically our Google. But reading the encyclopedias and finding information force you to do research. And that research force you to retain information, opposed to looking up something to answer a question. So that's part of the reason why we're seeing these lows in these test scores by and large by high school seniors and junior high school eighth graders. They're not retaining the information based on the structure of the teaching that's going on. And there's probably some really great teachers, but again, the whole purpose is retaining information. I love this movie Higher Learning because they highlighted a particular scene that alludes to this, where one of the characters is looking for, I believe it was Frederick Douglass, and he was like, "Yo, bro, you got the Frederick Douglass book?" He was like, "Yo, yeah, I got it, bro. Here's the book right here, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what turned you on to Frederick Douglass, bro? Like what gave you the, you know what I'm saying? You wanted to get into Frederick?" He was like, "Yeah, I just need it for a class." He was like, "For a class, so." He was like, "What else do I need it for?" He was like, "To feed your mind." And learning it for a class, you're just trying to answer questions. When you're looking it up for yourself and doing the research and the information, you're retaining. So they have to find a better way that these kids are retaining information. And also they have to do a better job in whatever their test score, their test is, their quizzes are, it has to be aligned to what they're studying. Most of these citywide tests are asking questions in a way that's kind of culturally skewed because a lot of people in urban neighborhoods don't talk the same way that the questions is asking, even though the questions that's being asked is in the right uh, reading capacity as far as oh my god, I'm missing the actual word, but um you know the god the reading grade. You know, you have your reading grades, right? So when people take these tests, when these kids take these tests, they have no idea what this question means because of the one word that's in it. So that completely throws them off. So the citywide has to do a better job in making sure it's aligned with the everyday studies that they have. That's one. And two, not to depend on technology. Use it. Don't depend on it. Very big difference. So that's why I think those scores is low, and that's what they need to do to fix it. All right, y'all, moving on to my next hot topic. Y'all already know college football picks is in. My pick six is in for both college football and the NFL. Like I said, for college football, I describe week, this is week two, or no, this is week three. I describe week three as sloppy Saturdays because you're going to have teams play so sloppy that they're going to get upsetted. So we had a couple of upsets with the picks, but we still did pretty good. So this week, my pick six, I went Alabama over Wisconsin. Alabama won. Alabama played a great game. I keep telling y'all, don't sleep on Ty Simpson. He's one of the best quarterbacks in college football, and I'm telling you, the best is yet to come. This guy is a great player. Uh, also, I said Georgia would beat Tennessee. They did beat Tennessee. That was a thriller. That was a sloppy game. It was a good game. It was back and forth. That game could have ended either way, like I said prior to. But I went with Georgia, and Georgia won. Also, number 5, Miami versus South Florida. Number 16, South Florida. 18, South Florida. I said Miami will win that game. Miami won. Great game. South Florida has a great quarterback, but I feel like he's the whole offense. 6'3", 245, run. He could throw a little bit, but he's a hard-nosed runner in the open space. And I just feel like that's too much talent on Miami's defense to overcome. And Miami has a good offense. So Miami did win that game. They pulled that game out. I said that Notre Dame would beat Texas A&M. Number 8, I said number 8, Notre Dame would beat number 16, Texas A&M. They lost 41-40. They lost by 1 point. Again, it's that sloppy Saturday. That sloppy Saturday. Anything can happen on sloppy Saturday. So Texas A&M did beat Notre Dame by 1 point. Clemson. I said Clemson would beat Georgia Tech. Clemson lost. Sloppy Saturday. They lost 24-21. They lost by a field goal at the end of the game. sloppy Saturday. Uh, I'm kind of through with Clemson. Clemson is not what anybody thought they would be, and losing to Georgia Tech is just opened my eyes even more. Um, I said Florida would beat LSU. No, I said LSU would beat Florida, the University of Florida. LSU won, also another tight game, and well, mainly throughout the game, but at the end, LSU had came away a little bit. I don't have the score. I'm missing the score, I should say. But this week, my pick six, 4-2. Just like last week, I went 4-2. This week, I went 4-2 with my pick six for college football. So again, you had some really, really great games. Some sloppy Saturdays. Anything is liable to happen. So I got the NFL. I got to look up one last score for the NFL. Okay, I was right with the NFL. So I went 4-2 last week. I'm gonna have my pick six this Wednesday for the next episode for my pick six for college. So my pick six for the NFL, I said the Steelers would beat the Seahawks. Yeah, Seahawks came to play, dog. They came to play. They had Aaron Rodgers in check. Seahawks beat Steelers 31-17. That was a good game, though. That was a good game. Broncos. I said the Broncos would beat the Colts. Colts won by 1 point, 29-28. Wow. Colts is really making a name for themselves, and they don't have big name players on their team. So that's going to be interesting moving forward. But great game for the Colts pulling that one out. The Rams beat the Titans. I said the Rams would beat the Titans 31-17 as well. Good game, but Rams was not losing that game. Falcons. I said the Falcons would beat the Vikings. Falcons won 22-6. Also a great game. The Vikings is very feisty as a whole, as a group. Good team, and I'm going to pick them to win some games this year. But Falcons, I said the Falcons will win, and they did. Jaguars and Bengals, I said that the Bengals would win. They beat the Jaguars 31-27. That was also a good game. And the Commanders and Packers, I picked the Commanders for that game, and the Packers showed out, and packed them up. Like I didn't see that happening at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. So for my pick six on the NFL this week, for the first week, I went 3-3. So again, I'm gonna have those again. Excuse me. I'm gonna have those again for next episode on Wednesday for my pick six for the NFL and for college football. Okay, moving on to my next segment. This segment is a Keep the Lie Alive segment. I know it sounds like what it is, Keep the Lie Alive. So my Keep the Lie Alive for this episode is people that embrace being loud, proud, and wrong. People that embrace being loud, proud, and wrong. Not being able to manage their emotional intelligence. If you're a person that disagrees with somebody based on emotion and not out of logic, not out of fact base, and you do it in a way where it's obnoxious, you're loud, you're proud, and you're wrong. And what makes it even more terrible is that you don't have the ability to manage your emotional intelligence. What happened to emotional intelligence? People love to speak on, I have so much emotional intelligence. But when it calls time for you to have some, you don't have any. So people are embracing being loud, proud, and wrong because they feel like that makes them right. No, it makes you look like a fool. And I don't like saying things that's in disagreements with somebody and feel like I have to disrespect them, because I don't. And I don't say this in disrespect, but it's a form of foolery. It's a form of delusion, being loud, proud, and wrong at the same time. Because you don't have your emotional intelligence in check. So we got to make sure that doesn't constantly become a thing, because we see it on social media all the time. We see it when people jump into the comments all the time, where they're commenting and they're so passionate about what they're saying. And there's nothing wrong, because you're saying your opinion based on what you know. But what happens when you're wrong? What happens when your facts is not accurate? What happens when what you're saying is not aligned to the truth? People don't know how to receive information in difference to what you think you know or what you thought you knew, and just be like, yo, I didn't know that part of the game. Cool. That doesn't make you look bad. That doesn't make you look stupid. That doesn't make you look like you're not intelligent. It makes you look like you don't know everything. Because you don't. We all don't. We all still trying to figure it out. We're all trying to learn different things. Anybody that claims to feel like they know everything, they don't know anything. Anybody that feels like they're the smartest person in the room, they're not the smartest person in the room. Anytime that somebody has to say that they're the smartest person in the room, then they're not. It's a ploy that other people hear it and be like, okay, well, he say he's the smartest person in the room, so we just gonna roll with that. That's in defense mode. That's a form of weakness. Because when you're the smartest person in the room, guess what? You don't have to say it. Everybody just knows. When you have the most information out of everybody in this room about this particular subject and that particular subject, guess what? People just know that you know it. You don't have to convince anybody. You don't have to disrespect anybody to make anybody see your viewpoint. Especially if it's not gauged in opinion and emotion. If it's gauged in logic, okay, I can see it. I can see it. It's gauged in logic. Even if it's an opinion attached to it and it has logic and it has facts to it, it's nothing that anybody could disagree about. It's right there. That's why I love math, by the way, because 2 plus 2 is always 4. That's why I love math, by the way. It's always 4. So is 3 plus 4. So is 1 plus 3. Y'all get the point that I'm making. It's always what it's supposed to be. But when it comes to knowledge of things and different things that we speak on, especially on the internet, it becomes this thing where it's so loud and proud and wrong that your defense mechanism is so heavy that you can't look bad. You just double down on it, which further display lack of emotional intelligence. Y'all, that's my Keep the Lie Alive for this episode. Again, being loud, proud, and wrong. Not being able to manage your emotional intelligence. Y'all, I want to thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. Episode 194. That's a lot of episodes, y'all. That's a lot of episodes. Again, I want to thank y'all for supporting. Again, hit them likes, y'all. Hit them 100s. Hit them likes. Hit them 100s. I appreciate y'all each and every episode for supporting and just showing major love. Again, tap in with me on Instagram at Ashley Lovechild. Also, got over 500 rewatchable videos of this podcast on this channel. So like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Mom, boyfriend, girlfriend, lover, sneaky link. You know what I'm saying? Tell everybody. You know what I'm saying? I do pop up throughout the week, so hit that all notification bell as well. Also have memberships in the chat, different memberships, different access. So make sure y'all tap into the membership portion of the page. Also, we on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We just got over a little over 11,000 subscribers, which is big time to me. I'm actually hype about that. So again, continue to hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate it immensely. I'm on every Wednesday, every Sunday. When I mean every Wednesday, every Sunday, it's the 194th episode. It's a lot of consistency. So I'm going to be back this Wednesday at 10:30. Also, I want to thank the presenting sponsor of this podcast, which is Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. Again, that's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. Also, I want to thank y'all for supporting my new EP. Winner's Loyalty is up on every music platform. Like I said, I'm going to find another way to release this music for the future projects, but got a whole bunch of music out, fire hip-hop music, so make sure y'all tap in. Got about like 5 to 6 albums up, you know what I mean? Some of them, you know what I mean? Some like, got some videos out, you know what I mean? So make sure y'all tap in, but hit, thank you for supporting, but hit, type in Ashley Lovechild in any music platform that you listen to, and all the music will pop up. I feel like I'm missing one last thing, as I always forget. And a quick shout out to the sponsors of the show. Again, Button Snaps and OUV Records. If you're interested in becoming one of the sponsors of the show, you can hit me on Instagram, like I said, at Ashley Lovechild. Again, the 200th episode is coming up. So again, send me some ideas on what y'all like to see me do for the 200th episode. You know, it will be fun. I'm looking forward to the 200th episode. I got some great news to drop. So, and I'm going to bring it out on the 200th episode coming up. So again, send me some ideas. You know what I'm saying? And again, y'all can put it in the live, or y'all could put it in videos, because like I said, I got over 500 rewatchable videos. So, and I probably just had another video just released. Like, so brother out here working hard. So again, thank you for your support. Gracefully. Again, I'm going to see y'all this Wednesday at 10:30. And y'all already know, man, it's love. And I'll see y'all again soon. I'm out.